Alright, so we're coming off the 87 Performance Economy tune. So now I'm going to do the 87 PRX. We'll drive on that a few days, do a review here. And then we'll switch to the 93 PRX and do a review on that. So I'll get this uploaded here. Again, I'm not going to mess with any of this. We're just going to upload it right as they intend. Not to mention, I'm not sure if it would mess up anything if I did try to modify that. So we'll do that and then drive on it a few days, and then I'll tell you what I think. Alright, so end of day 2 on the 87 PRX tune. So I got my pedal response back. You know, on the economy tune, it was like I had no pedal, I had no response. There was short shifting and all that, just doing everything I could to get good gas mileage. Which, if you want to know about that, go check that one out. But up from the 87 Performance Economy tune to this 87 PRX. Got all my throttle response back. It's like it was when I was on my SCT can tune on 93. This is only 87. And it pulls about the same as well, I would say. If there's any differences or any positives or negatives in power one way or the other, comparing this 87 PRX tune to the SCT 93 tune, I can't tell, but it feels about the same. One thing that's vastly different on this has got the 273s. I'm going to hit a light here. This has got the factory 273 gears in it, so it's really tall, stupid gearing. Putting 373s in to fix that. But on this tune in drive, it won't let you hit the higher gears until a certain speed. Now, factory and all the prior tunes thus far, watch this. They would try to be in 6th gear by about 41, 42 miles per hour and just let you absolutely lug the engine. So that's 4th. So now I'm just cruising. I'm not accelerating. I lifted. It will not go in 5th. It's in 4th right now. If I step it up a little bit, it should go to 5th. Nope. I'm still in 4th. Let's go a little more. There's 5th. So it's not lugging the motor like the stock tune and all the other tunes thus far. It's keeping it in a lower gear so you actually have a little bit of power on tap. So I completely lift there. It's staying in 5th. It will not hit 6th until I get up to 60 miles an hour, which I'm not going to be able to do here. I got another light coming up. But see, I just lifted. I'm just maintaining speed, and it's still in 5th gear. I even lifted throttle there. It's still in 5th. So that's 5th. Now I'll get it up over 60 and lift, and then it'll finally go into 6th. Right there, 6th. It finally went into 6th. And on deceleration, I noticed that once you tap 55, it downshifts to 5th gear. But this thing will not let you have 6th until you get above 60, which is nice, because especially when it was stock and on the other tunes, I would drive around in sport, because sport does not let it go on the 6th unless you use the sport shift buttons to manually select 6th. Because 6th gear is just too damn tall driving around town. You know, even 55, 60, really, it's too tall. You have no power. Look, I'm at 1500 RPMs in a screamer motor. God forbid 45 miles an hour. There's literally nothing. It's just like barely 1,000 RPMs. So with this PRX tune, the 87 PRX tune. Yeah, it won't even let you touch 6th until you get above 60, so I think that's actually nice, because I was constantly driving around in sport until I would get up on the highway and then put it in the drive so it would go in the 6th, because I hated how much it was lugging the engine. See, it's 5th down. So that's a big change from all the other tunes, and I like that. It doesn't try to put me in 6th gear and lug the hell out of the car until at least 60 miles per hour. I'd get gas. Typically don't let it get that low, but I didn't really have an option today. So yeah, it seems to pull about as hard as it did on the SCT 93 can tune. So hopefully when I go to 93, the 93 PRX tune here, hopefully it's going to be a lot better. So I like how it drives in drive. It seems to be shifting at the appropriate times and speeds and RPM and whatnot. Yeah, the shifts, they're pretty firm. A lot of times, like I pull onto a road, I'll get a little chirp when it goes into 2nd gear. But the shift, it's not like how it was on the SCT 93 can tune. That was, on the SCT, it was like it almost felt like you were dumping the clutch full throttle in between each gear change. And this, it's like, I wouldn't say lightning fast, because all you people out there with paddle shifting Lambos and shit will be like, that's not lightning fast. But to me, a lightning fast shift, and it's not so much of a shove, it's just like a real quick freaking shift and a little like jerk of the car, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a rough shift, but it doesn't feel like the can tune did. The can tune, it was rough, but it also gave it a shove, like it was like a pop clutch shift almost. It's almost like it was like revving it up and then dumping the clutch, even though it's an automatic, if that makes sense. So yeah, pretty firm shifts, but it's actually a little different. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy the way it drives in drive. I like that it doesn't go in the 6th until it hits 60. I like the shift points, like coming out of 1st and the 2nd. I think it shifted around 65, 66 on the 1-2 shift, and then it lets you get close to 7 on the 2-3 and the 3-4, if I recall correctly, which is getting up there. But in sport mode, I'm just going to be honest here, I do not like what it does in sport mode. I don't know why, but in sport shift, it shifts super early. It's like basically as soon as it starts to make power, it shifts, and then it shifts again, and then it shifts again, and then it shifts again, and it does the complete opposite of what sport mode should be. I really don't get it. It's like, it's just like, I don't get it. I don't know if it's because they've programmed it so that like the torque converter's locked. So that's what I thought at first, but that's not the case. Like you can see, I did some pulls, and yeah, if the same throttle percentage in drive, it revs out like it's like 1,000 RPM difference or more sometimes than if it's in shift. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. I do not like it at all. It super short shifts it at almost any throttle input, unless you're above like 50 or 60% throttle, like basically you're hauling ass. Then it shifts okay in sport, but anything less than like half throttle, it just super short shifts it. I don't get it. Here's real light pull in sport. And now the same throttle input in regular drive. More throttle in sport again. And now the same thing in drive. I took it through some curves to see. I'm like, okay, what about like taking it through curves? Because in sport, you know, it like holds gears so that when you power out of a curve, you don't have to wait for it to downshift and shit. And it seemed to do okay in that regard. But as far as like driving around in sport or a sport shift or whatever you call it, I don't like it at all. Now I know that if you're not happy with their tunes, you got a 60-day window to call them and be like, hey, I don't like this, can you change it slightly or whatever. So I'm sure that's something they could work with me with, because yeah, I don't like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and go to the 93 PRX tune, see how that is, and if it does the same thing in sport on that, I'll probably get a hold of them and see what we can do about that. But in drive, I'm fine with it, absolutely fine in drive. And oh, that was one last thing. It's much better when you're doing the select shift. So when you're choosing your own gears in sport shift with the sport shift button or whatever it's called, where you're manually shifting it, so much better with this tune. When it was stock, it just did all kinds of weird shit when you would select your own gears. If you selected it a little too soon, it'd be like it was just spinning the torque converter. And then if you selected it a little later than what you should, it was all kinds of funky and slippy. And then even with the SCT tunes on it, it operated the same when you would select your own gears. When you were shifting it manually, it would just do all kinds of funky stuff when you were shifting gears, and slip and buck and just all kinds of not pleasant things. But on this tune, it's fantastic. It's like, I feel like it's doing what it should. It doesn't slip when I shift, and it's a nice firm shift when I tell it to shift, and when I downshift and everything. So I'm not getting that slippy, crappy feeling like before. So, very high praises for whatever they did for the manual shifting, because it is so much better than it was stock, and it's so much better than it was on the SCT can tune. It's actually, it does what I want it to. It doesn't slip, and it just feels good. So that's another nice plus, and I'm sure that'll still be there on the 93 PRX tune. So that pretty much wraps it up. That's my experience with the 87 PRX. So now we're going to go 93 PRX, and then that video will be up shortly with a review on that. Can't wait. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Click all if you want to know when I post. If you want to follow the build. Still got plenty to come. I'm going to do a water pump pulley on it. I still got to put in my 373 gears. I still got to do something with the exhaust system, which I already have what I'm doing and just haven't revealed it yet. And next year, hopefully we're supercharging this thing. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.